Sometimes, the strike of a single note is all you need to recall past times. Then you tune up a CRT TV in a dark room and let the luminescent, glaring light overtake you. And suddenly you feel like a kid again. You remember what it feels like to dream, to have endless aspirations and imagination. You cling to that fantasy world and return to it when times are tough. For Shigeru Miyamoto, his creation of The Legend of Zelda was just that. He wanted to capture for others and share with them the adventure and mystery that he felt while exploring rural Japan as a child. And with the help of Takashi Tezuka, Koji Kondo, and many others, Miyamoto would do just that, bringing that dream to life and creating countless adventures across a franchise. Growing up playing Zelda Ocarina of Time quickly became comforting. It was an escape, a fully fledged 3D adventure world that was all at my fingertips. It wasn't quite like anything else. I began to visit that world less and less the older I got. And suddenly, now, a 40-year beloved franchise is in the hands of Nintendo and the man who brought you Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Similar to the sprawl of sequels and remakes, adaptations of animated movies, and biopics, video game adaptations are in the same caliber, essentially being used solely as a box office flocking tool and committing everything except for fan service. Adaptations are a big ask for fans these days because they are left with a very real possibility of someone like Chris Pratt or Jack Black completely changing what they thought that they knew about their favorite video game. Understandably, there has been heavy criticism and unease about this project, so let's take a look and see where people might be coming from. Disclaimer: there isn't a lot of information on the production of this film, so the majority of this will be purely conceptual and speculative. Also, I will only be touching on these 3 games and their counterparts in relation to the upcoming Zelda film, so apologies to those who will not be mentioned that have been affected by adaptations. Subject includes but is not limited to Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, The Last of Us, Silent Hill, Mortal Kombat, Doom, Halo, Pokemon, Angry Birds, Sonic the Hedgehog, Wreck-It Ralph, Pac-Man, and many others. Without further ado, The Legend of Zelda, or what could become one of the most disastrous moments in film adaptation's history. So what do we know about the movie so far? Recently, part of the cast and location were disclosed by Nintendo, but that's about it. I think they wanted to put names to faces because pretty sure producers were tired of people speculating and coming up with their own actors and ideas of who could take the role, like Sydney Sweeney or Hunter Schafer, and Tom Holland came up. Orlando Bloom? This was a screenshot I took back in March though. The AI trailers have been rolling out for the past year plus now. Anyways, Link is played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth and Zelda by Bo Bragazin, 2 relatively unknown English actors. We also know that filming is primarily in Wellington, New Zealand. Everything else is currently under wraps, plot to be determined. So what we do know looks promising, but there isn't much there. So now let's move on to everything else we don't know that could kill this project. Unfortunately, the priority that has leaked its way into a majority of mainstream art and media is money. Even when there are passionate individuals on a project, there are always higher ups, someone above, who's demanding whatever will sell the most and save the most money. And sure, Shigeru Miyamoto oversaw the process with the Mario movie, and he will definitely do the same with Zelda, but Illumination has their fingerprints all over Mario. And now, a live-action attempt of another large franchise is in the hands of some people who are heavily tied to mediocre, big-budget eye candy like Marvel and Jurassic World. Generally, there should be hope in Sony and Nintendo, but the market continues to change for studios. I would have had a lot more confidence with Miyamoto at the helm of a project like this maybe 15 or so years ago, because he is someone who, in the past at least, has cared greatly for Nintendo's games and their respective fans. This is his original idea and dream. Zelda is his creation. There's uncertainty now, though, as more beefy projects keep being greenlit left and right, and prices of new games and consoles continue to soar of late. Nonetheless, expectations should be relatively low going into a project like this, because even an animated Mario project achieved nothing more than, at best, some sprinkling of Easter eggs for some easy points. It didn't negate anything franchise-worthy, but it certainly did not add anything new. It simply just exists. And that's been a problem with many new adaptations. They just incorporate what's minimally needed and what's known. You have to wonder if it's tied to Nintendo or if it's just the current model and method of mainstream filmmaking. Instead of an homage or extension of the universe, it becomes, hey, see that? We included the thing, get it? You recognize that, right? And this is not only an issue with writers who are far removed from the original source material, like at Sony or Illumination. Scott Cawthon, creator and game developer for the Five Nights at Freddy's series, is now the lead writer for the film adaptations, which, to fans' dismay, is supposed to be its own universe, but kind of isn't. So it has not stayed true to the original story and its subjective theories. The story was brought in to be more accessible to wider audiences, and so it not only dumbs it down, but it also is, for the most part, something entirely different. On the other hand, Minecraft has little to no story to begin with, so that film takes the utmost basic 3-act story structured approach to just try and cram as many visuals and nods to the game without having any substance. The Mario movie sits somewhere in between these two, but still lacks the wherewithal to accomplish anything extraordinary story-wise. So where does The Legend of Zelda sit? The story is complicated, to say the least. There are multiple timelines branching apart, not to mention Link, the protagonist, does not speak. So will the film attempt to stay true or become its own thing? Does it break the rules and put a voice to a character that has never had one?
Hey, excuse me, princess.
Or will it follow the creation of the land and sky? The hero of time? The age of calamity? Or maybe something entirely different? Regardless, there will be backlash because you can't fit everything into one neatly tied package. You can't dumb it down. You can't rely on spectacle to carry it. We've seen with all of these that the audience walks away with nothing. Judging based off of how little is known about this project and considering the trajectory of other adaptations in recent years, the bar is pretty low. It's unlikely that everyone on this project is pursuing it with malicious intent. But the reality is, today there's a general lack and sometimes a severe gap in love and care for crafts that are just handed over as IPs to major studios. As long as everyone gets paid at the end of the day, though, right? Peter Jackson brought Tolkien's world to life in magnificent ways, and nearly the same decade also ruined it with The Hobbit, a fantasy world some would find comfort in, just turned into this. And that's the difference between passion and wealth, constraints and creativity, mostly all due to the demands from studios. One is pragmatic for better or for worse, and the other is full of childlike wonder, dreams, and discovery. I truly don't believe that the main fault of this is going to be the fact that it's live action, which a lot of people are pointing to. And while there is a lot of fan-made animated work that is phenomenal, and suggest that an animated project would look really good, I think it all comes down to the passion. And the question that is going to be put to test is, are these studios in this current model capable of putting art first and foremost? What do you think will become of The Legend of Zelda? Will it be disastrous, or will it defy the criticism and unease by honoring the original that was created out of a dream? A dream inspired by the childhood memory of imagination, creativity, wonder, and adventure.